welcome back. It's me, Lou. I'm here for another unboxing and review, and today we are featuring from Titans Vinyl Figures the Star Trek exclusive USS Discovery. Alright, so I'm a big Star Trek fan, and I love the new programming like Strange New Worlds and Discovery. And way back in the day, like in the late 90s and early 2000s, I used to collect Star Trek models, more specifically the smaller Japanese starships from the company Furuta. They're really cool, and they were kind of like roughly within this scale. The last, how many years has it been? The last few years, some people might be more familiar with Eaglemoss Hero Collectibles and their magazines that come bundled with this, the Star Trek starships. But seeing as how Eaglemoss is no more, it's very unfortunate because I thought it was a great way for people and fans to collect starships affordably. But, there's other alternatives, and this was one of them. This, however, is a little bit older. This was a Star Trek convention exclusive from 2018. I don't know if this in any capacity saw release at like retail, but I don't know. This is cool. So we can take a look at this. All right, so here's the box. It's very generic. If you have any of the Titans other collectibles, like their vinyl figures or some of their other licensed brands like Game of Thrones, this package style might be very familiar to you. It's very basic. It's very clean in its design. On the back, nice image of Discovery. So keep in mind that even though this looks like the actual starship from the show, the proportions are slightly different. For example, Titans, they kind of make their equivalent of like Funko Pops. It's kind of like chibi and super deformed. And even though this looks like a normal starship, the dimensions and scale and proportions are kind of skewed compared to what we see on the television show. All right, so let's get started and take this out. All right, I think I'm doing this right. If I remember correctly, open it from the bottom. The inside of the packaging is nice also. They have a... I'm not sure if this comes out or not. Yeah, it does. There's a cardboard insert with a beautiful graphic of the Discovery. It looks awesome. It took me a while to warm up to the starship's design because it's very different from previous starships in the Star Trek canon. Most starships, for the most part, are kind of like that gray color, with the exception of the Stargazer, which is kind of yellow. So this, the gold color scheme of the Discovery took a while for me to like warm up to, but since the inception of the show, I've grown very fond of it, and I think it's a beautiful starship. First impressions of the starship while it's in a tray. I'm not sure what the material is made of, but I noticed a little bit of warping here on the left nacelle. It's kind of like warping inward. Unfortunately, this thing does not come with a display base, which kind of sucks. It's made of it's kind of made of like a softer vinyl. It's not super flexible, but as you can see, it has some give to it. Size-wise, the Discovery comes in at about almost 5 3/4. It's nice for what it is. You're not going to have all the crazy Aztec patterning detail on the surface of the hull. Also, if you're familiar with the ship, there's kind of like the interior concentric circles is kind of like hollowed out, but on this model it's not. So that's kind of unfortunate. But, you know, for the price that I paid for this, which was I think like maybe $11 or $12 on Amazon, I think it's fair. So the actual proportions of the ship in the show is that, of course, the saucer section in the actual like CG model on the show, it's a lot thinner. It's not as thick like this one is. The neck that supports the saucer section is a little bit taller on this model than it is compared to the original show. The nacelles also on the show are a lot longer than what we see here. But for the most part, this is a nice a toy, you know. If you have a child or a young one that's really into like Star Trek, this is a fun ship for them to like zoom around with. Let's take a look up close. The painting's alright. It's for the most part pretty clean, as you can see. The gold with the silver and red accents, it's nicely done, as are some of the windows on the saucer section. Some clean painting on the upper part with the bridge. It'd be nice if they had, you know, some of the Aztec patterning on the saucer section, but it's, you know, I can understand why they didn't have it. It's too much detail for something this small. The body of the ship, there's some nice clean scribing and panels on top. And on top of the nacelles as well. Here's a profile. It's kind of hard to get into focus. The shuttle bays in the back, it's closed off. But the paint job's pretty clean for the most part. On the underside, not as much paint application. You do have the Star Trek logo on one side, and then the Titans vinyl logo on the other. For comparison, I just grabbed what I could off my shelf, and here is the Vengeance from Star Trek Into Darkness. This was produced by Mattel in their Hot Wheels line, and for the most part, a lot of Star Trek starships in the toys and the models, they always kind of fall like roughly within this size. You know, I think this is a slightly larger, I think, than an Eaglemoss model, but I think it depends also on the ship. But the nice thing with this is that, you know, with this size, it could easily blend in like with your display, whether it be Eaglemoss, the older Furuta models, or even like the Hot Wheels stuff. So it's pretty cool. Like for this is an older toy as well. I think this came out in 2013 under Mattel. And as you can see, they actually have the Aztec paneling, or at least some semblance of it, on the surface of the hull. One thing that Discovery doesn't have, that's like in the actual show, like I was talking about earlier, is that on the Discovery part of the saucer section, there's a concentric ring that's hollowed out. You know, like on the Vengeance, you know, parts of the saucer are actually hollowed out and cut through. And in the show, the concentric ring towards the inside is actually cut out, but on the model here, it's not. It'd be nice if it was a little bit more accurate to the show, but again, like I said, you know, for $12, you know, beggars can't be choosers, and it is a nice toy for the most part. You know, at least they have the designation printed onto the front of the saucer. So I'm pretty glad I have it. You know, I can add it to my collection of Star Trek starships. Alright, so with that being said, let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. Alright, later.